Hi everyone. I wanted to do a little bit of a different video today. Specifically, I want to do just some tips and tricks how you can do Disney, and more so Disneyland versus Disney World, as you are pregnant. So I know we recently just came back from a trip for Disneyland, and I remember having to do a lot of Pinterest, just trying to find some tips and tricks on how to do that. Pinterest had a lot of things on there, but I couldn't find a lot of things on YouTube, so that's kind of why I thought, maybe this might be helpful for some of you ladies out there who are pregnant and trying to go to Disneyland, especially during COVID, and then of course, again, being pregnant on top of that too, and some of the things that are different right now. First things first, I'll go over some things that I did, and then also some things that you can utilize, but I didn't necessarily do them. So the first thing I would say is if you are staying at a place that has a shuttle, that's the way to go. Now obviously if you are renting an Airbnb in the area, it's gonna be a little bit tricky, but there's a lot of hotels in the Disneyland area that you can definitely walk. We were looking for a hotel in the area, and I was actually looking for a hotel that would be like literally across the street from Disneyland, and we actually couldn't find anything just because we were going during Christmas, and so everything was booked out, even though we were looking like 2 months in advance, and this was for our baby moon, and everything was booked out in advance, and so we ended up looking further out, and we found a hotel called the Hyatt Regency, and it's about roughly, I would say like 5-ish minutes of a drive from Disneyland, which is not horrible. And oh, somebody just messaged me. And that's the one that we went with, and they had a shuttle, but we had never taken a shuttle to Disneyland before. We also had a rental car, and so we kind of thought, you know what, we can drive. It's 5 minutes. It's not a problem. We can drive. We've been there before. We've parked, in their parking lot before. They had shuttles that would take you from the parking lot, the parking ramp, right, to the front of where Disneyland, the doors were. And so we thought that that's what was going to happen. So on the day of we get there, we drive out to the ramp, and fortunately the car in front of us actually was kind enough to sort of do like a drive-through difference sort of thing for us. They paid for our parking, which was incredibly kind. We weren't expecting it at all, and especially because this car cut us off, so we were like driving up to the gate, and this car like cut us off, and we were like, what the heck? And then of course it turns out they like paid for our parking, so that was really nice of them. There is like your standard parking, and then there's preferred parking, and they actually paid for our standard parking. And when we got up to the gate agent was like, hey, the car, they paid for your parking. If you want, you can pay an additional $15 and get preferred parking since someone else covered your standard parking for you. And so it's $30 for the standard parking, and then $45 for the preferred parking. And so we were like, yeah, heck yeah, like we'll take the preferred parking just because we thought it was gonna be closer. I'm pregnant. We didn't want to walk far. We wanted easy access, and so we're like, we'll pay $15. So we did that. And so we parked, and I can't really honestly tell what the difference is between preferred and standard. I think it's just because preferred is a lot closer to the escalators and the elevators, whereas like standard is like further away on the other side of the ramp, so you have to kind of walk a ways to get there. I think that's what it is. But anyways, we parked, and we literally were like in the first row, got out, escalators were right there, boom. So we get out, and we realized there's no shuttles. And so we're like, okay, that's weird, because back then when we came here, there were shuttles that would take you right up to the gate, right up to the door, right, the entrance of where Disney is. And there was none. So we were like, okay, that's odd. So we check in, everything like that. You go through a security check, and then all of a sudden there's like this long stretch of a road. And so we were like, okay, that's weird. Everybody seems to be going there. We'll walk, right? So we start walking, and all of a sudden it's like we're walking for a long time. And I can't even tell you exactly how long we had to walk. And if I find it and I Google it, I'll put it right here somewhere. But it felt like a long time that we walked. And so of course you walk all of this before you get to the entrance, you're tired already. And then, you spend all day there. And at the end of the day, you still have to walk that stretch back to get to the parking ramp. And of course, if you're walking all day, you're tired already. And to know that you have to walk, probably this potentially 5-6 block of a stretch to get to the parking ramp, it's exhausting. So that's what we learned the first day. So the second day, my feet were throbbing by this point. And the second day I was like, you know what? No, well, let's do the hotel shuttle. I looked at the Disney app, and looked at the map that they included, and you can kind of see, which I'll insert, clips here in just a second, pictures too, so you can all see. But you'll notice that like where they have the shuttle drop off is literally right by the entrance. And so I was like, okay, let's try that, because I'm not going to walk that whole stretch of, a road that they're going to have us do again if we drive our own car. So we did try doing the shuttle. Super easy at the Hyatt Regency. The hotel shuttle picks you up, drops you off right at the entrance of the hotel. They picked us up. They had pickups every half hour, basically all day. The only time that they didn't run was, I think, like the last hour of when the park was running. But it was every half hour. And so we got on, and then when we got dropped off, it was, like I said, literally like at the entrance. And I remember, I was like, oh my gosh, we should have done this yesterday because it would have saved my feet. And you'll probably see, if you watch our previous vlog, you probably would have seen where I was like, that's where the entrance was, and that's where the shuttle was. So that was super helpful, because we got out of the park, literally went out, took us just a few minutes to, get out of the exit and then make our way towards the shuttle, pick up again to get back to the hotel. And they were picking up every half hour as well from the park. And so if you missed one, that's okay. Like in the next half hour, somebody else, another shuttle will come. They were very good about that. That was a huge lifesaver. I really wish that we would have done that the first day, because like I said, my feet, they were throbbing. So if you get a hotel that has the shuttle servers, definitely take advantage of it. Figure out, how often they run, things like that. There was a small fee for us to pay. I think it was like $16 total for both of us to ride the shuttle, and it covered you all day. And so, as you can tell, just from the prices I gave from the parking ramp to the shuttle, you do save a lot more when you do the shuttle. And then also, I was telling Shufeng that, one thing that would have really helped out too is if we would have done the shuttle the first day, we could have left the park midday, gone back to the hotel, took a nap, and then, came back to watch fireworks. So that was the other thing. We didn't get to watch fireworks on the first day because we got there at about 8 a.m. and then we stayed until about 6 p.m. because, you drove, you parked, right? You don't want to walk, you don't want to have to drive back to the hotel and then have to come back and do that whole, thing. And so by 6 p.m., we were exhausted. I mean, I was exhausted. And so when we left, I was like, I can't do fireworks. I just can't. Like, I'm not going to make it. So I really wish that, we would have just planned a little bit better, or at least trusted the shuttle service a little bit better, because I think that would have been helpful just to get that midday rest, that, nap or whatever you need for that day. So I would recommend that. Check your hotel. This was really helpful. The thing that I was talking about about the shuttles, so for the shuttles, this is what I was looking at, right? So I was like, okay, so here's the main entry right here. You can see the entry for both doors right here. And just like this, you can all see the entry door for that. And then I saw, okay, bam, there's the shuttles right there, right? Sweet. Pretty easy, right? But then this is what I was talking about how long it took us. So if I scroll out here, you can kind of see there's this back road right here. This gray area right here, you can see. Oh, let me like this. Okay. This road right here, you see this? This is the road that we took, that we walked all the way to this parking ramp. So if I scroll out, you can kind of see where the parking ramp is. It's right there. And here's the entrance. Now, doesn't look that far, right? But when I scroll like this, I mean, look at it. It is a far walk. So that's where I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. We're gonna take the shuttle, which literally we got dropped off right here, walked in, and then bam, right there. The second thing is comfortable shoes. I think that's a no-brainer. If you're pregnant, wear comfortable shoes. Every blog that I read said wear comfortable shoes. So I actually wore tennis shoes when we were there the first day, which was really helpful. But we did get rained on the first day, so my shoes were a little wet. And then the second day, I was kind of thinking, okay, well, we won't be there for like 10 hours like we were the day before, so I'll be okay with my booties, you know? Yeah, bad idea. My booties, we were only at the park that day for 5 hours, so obviously like half the time that we were there the first day, and my feet were just like done. They were done. Like it was so bad to the point where I was limping for days after that day that we went, and I was wearing my booties. They just, you know, just didn't have the cushion that my tennis shoes did. So wear comfortable shoes. If they're cute, great. If they're not cute, just do it anyways. Even if you're not pregnant, wear comfortable shoes. But if you are pregnant, definitely wear comfortable shoes. Your feet will thank you. Your knees will thank you. My shins were hurting. The top parts of my feet were hurting. It was not great at all. The next thing I would say is bring us a baggie of snacks. So what I did for myself, so Disney does allow you to bring snacks with you. So I actually had a Ziploc baggie like this, exactly like this. And I had Z-bars in here just to make sure that I was getting snacks because, you know, you never want to get caught where there's a long wait for food and you're hungry, right? Because when you are pregnant, you gotta eat, right? So I had snacks with me the entire time. If we couldn't order a meal in time, I'd whip it out, have a quick snack, be on my way. So huge lifesaver. Just, you know, take whatever snacks you want. You can do that. And then on that note too, next thing is do a water bottle. So I brought this Yeti with me, and you can bring liquids with you inside Disney. So we filled it up with water at the beginning of the day before we went, and I would just, right, sip on it. We carried it in a backpack, or Shifeng did, and we would just refill it throughout the day we would just buy water bottles there if we ran out of, if I drank all of it, and just refilled it along the way as we went. And so that's the big thing. Stay hydrated. Obviously stay hydrated regardless if you're pregnant, but as you all know, when you are pregnant, you are supposed to drink a lot of water. So just make sure that you are hydrated. That was of huge help. The next thing I would say is bring wet wipes and hand sanitizer. I think that's a no-brainer, especially during COVID days. You are much more vulnerable when you are pregnant. Things hit you a little bit harder if you catch anything. And so I was very, very mindful of that and also very careful because of that. So I brought, some Purell hand sanitizing wipes. I also had a bottle of hand sanitizer too with me. Anytime I travel, I always have a hand sanitizer with me, but I specifically made sure I had that in the backpack that we took with us to Disneyland. That way, if I, wanted to grab something or touch something, or if I was touching doors and things like that, I could just whip it out, wipe my hands real quick. These were especially helpful for when you are gonna eat and you need to wipe the table down or wipe the chair down. That's what we kind of used it for. I know we went to this, it's like an orchestra show kind of in California Adventureland, and they had us put on these 3D glasses for the show, which neither he or I knew that was going to be the case. We thought it was just going to be like a screen with a show. But when we got in there, they were like, here's some 3D glasses. You need this to watch the show. We were like, oh crap. And so I was like, hey, guess what? Like, I have wipes. Let's wipe it down, So we like wiped our glasses down, disinfected, and that just gave us some comfort knowing that, you know, we were able to disinfect a little bit versus just putting it on it because we don't know who used it, right? So get you some. And then next up, I would say download the Disney app. You get the email as soon as you buy the tickets telling you to to download the Disney app. Do it. Definitely do it. It was super helpful. I'll show some clips in a moment here, just kind of showcasing the different things that you can use, you know, and I used it a lot for the mobile app, mobile food orders, right? So I talked about having to wait in line and things like that. That was a huge lifesaver for us, and especially for me, because I knew that I would be getting hungry every hour and a half, right? And when I say hungry, I mean like I would want a snack, not necessarily a full meal, but or if I knew when I was going to be wanting lunch. So I would actually place my food order ahead of time, knowing what I could and couldn't eat and things like that. And then you could schedule it for a specific block of time that you know, okay, in the next hour, I'm going to be in that area, right? And so I'm going to place the food order. You can definitely do that. And then when it's time, you know, you even have the option to let them know like, hey, I'm here, you can prepare my order for me now, and they'll do that for you so you can get fresh food. That way they're not making it and then 30 minutes later then you show up, right? So when it's your window, your time slot, which I believe they're like 30 to 45 minutes, when it's your window, you'll get a notification saying, hey, it's your window. Are you here? Are you ready to go? I would click that button like, hey, I'm here, please start preparing my meal, when I knew that I was like about to get there. That way, if I needed to wait, it was just only a few minutes. But they had, you know, a mobile app food order window typically, where you can go pick up your food. And that was huge for me because every place that I went to, there was always a long line of people who just like happened to walk up and wanted to order food. And they had to wait for, I don't even know how long, right? Because they have to wait to order their food. And after they place their food, they have to wait for them to make their food for them, right? And so for me, I was like, I ain't got time for that. So the mobile app was really, really helpful. I also used it a lot for the map settings, specifically the bathrooms, the restrooms. So you could filter it by finding the attractions, finding, you know, what the wait times are for the rides and things like that. I used it a lot for where's the nearest restroom. That was helpful. That way I wasn't like trying to find where the nearest restroom was and kind of trying to find it blind. I could just look at the map and just be like, this is where we're at and this is where we're going. So that was really helpful. I really liked it. The Disney app also lets you know too what are the show times for like the parades and things like that as well, so you can plan your day accordingly. That was really helpful for us too. Speaking of the Disney app, it also lets you know like the different nursery stops. So these next two things are things that I was aware of, but I didn't necessarily use when I was there. The first one is the nursery stops. So in the Disney app, you can also filter the map down to locate different locations that you can nurse if you want. You do not have to have a baby to do it. If you're pregnant, you can enjoy the amenities as well. Go in there, right? I've been told that it's, you know, during the summer months, you know, they run AC, it helps you cool down. And I'm sure during the cooler months, they've got heat running too, which will kind of help warm you up. And it kind of gives you a chance to just put your feet up for a second and just rest, and it's quiet. You know, you can have just a moment to breathe. I did not end up using it, but I did know that it was there and available if I needed to. So the mobile app order that I was talking about is right here, right? So you can kind of see, you know, you can create a new order here and then select where you want to eat, you know, different times. You can pick different times if you want. Look at their menu and then see what you want, and then obviously add it to your order, and then you can check out and pay actually ahead of time. So I liked doing that. You can also look at the map too and kind of see where this restaurant was and how far it is from you. That was helpful. And then here is the map that I was talking about. You can filter it right here. You know, I used it a lot for the restrooms. So I went like this, and I can kind of see, okay, where am I at? Where's the nearest restroom? And things like that. You can also find like the nursery and things like that. That's all in here too. Or anything else that you want to look for. You know, obviously you can see that in here. But the second thing that's available, but that I didn't do, is that there are some rides that are pregnancy friendly. I didn't actually do any rides when I was in Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park. And that really is just because I just wasn't in the mood. I was in the mood, and I also just didn't want to risk anything at all. So first time mom, right? So I just thought, you know, I'm not gonna ride anything, but I do know that there are some rides that you know, you can ride as a pregnant person. And when you get there, they have like signs right by the entrance that will tell you people who should not ride it, and they'll let you know, like, if you're an expecting mother, you should not ride it. And obviously if that's not there, then you can certainly ride it. But like I said, for me, I just didn't ride it, and I was okay with that too. So yeah, definitely check those out. Those were the things that I definitely, I would say, tips that I used when I was in Disneyland. Just my experience overall during COVID. I was very anxious, very nervous kind of going out there, because when we bought the tickets, it was actually, I think we bought the tickets like early October for the Christmas time frame. Because we've always wanted to experience Disneyland during Christmas time. Every time we've gone there, it's always been like summer months, you know. And so we wanted to experience Christmas time there, and so that's why we did that for our baby moon. And we also figured, you know what, the next time that we are here in Disney, it's going to be like, we're going to have a little one with us, right? So we want to enjoy it, just the two of us, before, you know, we're going to always have kids with us, right? And it was right before the variant hit, started to get bad. And so I was really nervous about that. But what I can tell you is that in Disney, if you're indoors, everybody has to wear a mask. Like, you just got to. And then also when you're outside, it's not like required necessarily, but when we were there, there was, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the people there, they did wear a mask. So it was, I would say, the minority that did not wear a mask. Everybody typically did. And everybody just kind of minded their own business and sort of stayed away from each other, I would say. And so that gave me a little bit of ease to just knowing that people, you know, you could tell that they were, majority of them were being careful as much as they could. And then folks that you knew that weren't, you just stay away from them, you know. So that was our experience in Disney during Christmas, during COVID. Those are some things that we did, some tips that we, you know, I'd recommend. I really hope that this was helpful for some of you, whoever's watching this, for, you know, the next time that you'd like to go to Disney. It was great. It was fun. We got rained on the first day. Second day was a lot nicer, you know, but it was still like mid-50s, so still kind of chilly. But we had a great time. It's gonna be our last trip for a long time. But I'm glad that we did it, and I'm glad that we can, you know, talk about it and share about our experience with you all. And again, I hope that this video was helpful for, you know, for you as much as I could, even if not all of it, maybe a little bit of it was kind of helpful. But other than that, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.